The profound miscarriage of justice and the harrowing truth that the greatest scandal in NHS history continues not merely to echo in inquiry rooms but to devastate lives in real time. This is the infected blood scandal where over 30,000 people in the UK contracted HIV and hepatitis C through contaminated treatments between the 1970s and 1990s, and it should have closed a chapter by now. But the compensation delays are not just bureaucratic failings, they are moral failings, and they go on and on and on. And I have to add that I was very lucky. I'm on the haemophilia scale, and for some unbelievable reason, for some luck, I was never given infected blood, and I'm very grateful about that. But it was pure chance, and I also know from recently how incredibly difficult it is trying to wait for medical support through either an insurance company, using travel insurance or whatever, and the bureaucracy that simply delays and delays and delays until it's too late and the time expires, and despite that you're sort of in continual pain and you're anxious, and in my case, I must again say that I found solutions round it, but again I've been very lucky. But I can understand the frustration from first-hand experience, and I can understand the anxiety from first-hand experience, and I'm appalled at the catalogue of health ministers who do nothing, and the appalling NHS England that simply seems to be battening on its own self-importance, and whether the present health minister is abolishing NHS in England doesn't really matter because it's a bureaucratic fiddle. Under the terms of the contract, these civil servants can't be abolished. They have to be given an opportunity to do another job within the health service. And so they're just simply being moved. And this blood problem was a tragedy born of routine neglect, negligence, and as the inquiry later revealed, of obfuscation at the highest levels. Children with haemophilia, like Gary Webster at Lord Mayor Treloar's school, was effectively used in unethical medical trials, leading to lifelong consequences. Others, like the late Randolph Peter Gordon-Smith, were denied the truth even as they lay dying. In May 2024, the infected blood inquiry led by Sir Brian Langstaff concluded that much of the disaster could have been avoided and that a cover-up had perpetuated the harm. And in response, the government announced an £11.8 billion compensation scheme, supposedly one of the most comprehensive in British history. But that scheme has become a byword for frustration, not unlike the Horizon scheme. Of the estimated 140,000 potentially eligible, only 475 have been invited to make a claim by the end of last month. Just 77 payments have actually been made. And even now the bulk of payments to infected individuals is scheduled only by 2027. For those affected, widows, children, elderly, parents, the projected end date is 2029. Let's be blunt, 2 victims die every week. At this rate, thousands more will die without ever seeing justice. Listen to Tony Summers, now 89, whose son Paul died in 2008 after receiving contaminated blood. Tony had been told he may not receive compensation until 2029. By then I'll be 93, he said. People are still dying. It feels like they're just waiting for us to die off. Or consider Cyrilia Knight's client, one of 4 men infected with both HIV and hepatitis C, who submitted his claim, then died. Now his children must start the process all over again. Or Sue Threakle, whose brother Bob died aged 47. We're in complete despair. Many of us won't live long enough to see the money, let alone use it with dignity. The scheme is beset by chaos. Victims report wrong infection dates, misclassified diagnoses, wildly varying payments. The IBCA, the compensation authority, is described as opaque and lacking independence. Some survivors say they've received conflicting instructions. Others speak of suicidal thoughts. And still the government offers platitudes about process rather than delivering outcomes. Des Collins, a solicitor representing over 1,500 victims, put it starkly: there's been no meaningful participation in shaping this scheme. It's been a fait accompli, a scheme done to them, not with them. And this is not just a bureaucratic issue. It's a question of justice delayed and increasingly justice denied. And the victims of this scandal have already endured disease, discrimination, poverty, and stigma, and now they face the final indignity of dying before their names are cleared and their suffering recognised. The UK government's strategy of delay and deferral echoes the original sin of this scandal, neglecting the very people it exists to protect. Sir Brian Langstaff said it best: they do not have time on their side, and time in this case is the quiet assassin of accountability. We owe the infected and the affected not merely compensation but resolution, not just payouts but recognition, not simply numbers on a ledger but honour for lives devastated. And this should have been over decades ago. The fact is that this is not only shameful, it's unforgivable. And that the hearings this week, I hope, will mark a turning point, but if not now, then when? So much money is being wasted. So much money, for example, is being wasted in the hostile environment absurdity of putting asylum seekers in hotels and paying so much for those hotels. There are alternative options, and a chief of which is to give asylum seekers a sort of turquoise card and give them the opportunity to work if they want to, and to find their own accommodation, and to have the dignity of being welcomed into this country and proving how much they want to come here and work with us. And we should not be paying out £8 million a day to keep people in limbo. It's outrageous. That's just one cost which seems to me to be absurd, when we have a duty to pay back to people that the state has willfully and negligently harmed, both in the infected blood issue and the Horizon issue and the Grenfell issue. It is shameless that we can be delaying and delaying and delaying.